What's up guys, we are going to have a smashing good time with the new Titan exotic, the Twilight Garrison. I have to say this piece did not disappoint, and I was lucky enough to get this on Tuesday. As soon as it dropped, I had saved some exotic armor pieces and it actually worked out for me. So we're not just going to be going over the chest piece itself. I'm not just going to show you a screen of its perk and call it a day. I'm going to show you everything I figured out in that week so you guys can get a jump start if you guys haven't had a chance to try this exotic piece. So what we're going to be exploring today is all the advantages that this chest piece gives you. Now the most notable one is its exotic ability, which is an air dodge that pretty much works like the Shade Step does for the Hunter, except that you get to do this one in the air. And if you guys do not know this, the Titan was already the fastest class in the game. A lot of people like to think that it's the Hunter, but that's just untrue. If you actually master the skating technique with the Titans, then you are the fastest character out there. Within the Titan subclasses, the Striker used to be the fastest one because it had the shoulder charge ability, and with that you can queue up a faster skate. We do have a review of that, or more so a how-to guide on how to get the most speed out of the Striker. However, now every Titan subclass has the ability to get this kind of speed because of this chest. And these are the kind of things we're going to be exploring a little bit later on in the video, but first, let's look at the chest piece itself. Now something that you want to know when you get a new piece of gear is what is possible for it to roll with. The Twilight Garrison can be rolled with any kind of split between discipline, intellect, and strength. I think most people with their Titan are gonna still prefer the intellect discipline because even though the melee got a boost, it's still not that great unless you're gonna be doing something very specific like getting additional transfusions or doing something crazy with your defender Titan. The other great thing about this piece, it does come with special ammo, which means it doesn't matter if you're using a shotgun or a sniper, you're going to get extra ammo, and you're also going to be able to get extra heavy ammo, machine gun, or rocket launcher. Alright, now let's get into what really stood out to me. This is the first thing that I noticed, that before, whenever a sniper caught you in the air, usually it was pretty bad news bears, because a lot of good snipers know that when you catch somebody jumping, the arc is pretty predictable, so it usually leads to you getting headshotted. However, when you have the Twilight Garrison, you actually have the ability to just alter your flight path, and it's super tricky, and it doesn't matter if you're high up, down low, anytime that you pretty much activate this perk, you are going to be throwing people for a loop, especially here at the beginning, because a lot of people are just not watching out for this. A lot of people don't have the armor piece yet. And even when you are expecting it, it's still very tricky to know which direction they're going to go, because you can angle this just like the Shade Step. You can get like a slight 45-degree angle. You don't have to go directly forwards, backwards, left, and right, so it makes it a little bit trickier to know where somebody's going to be when they activate it. Now, pretty early on when I was using this chest piece, I figured out that it did allow you to get the speed boosts like the one that you would experience when you were doing the flying knee in the air. I'm somebody that typically just likes to get out there and play with it right away. I don't like going into patrol, but if that's where you feel comfortable, by all means go there and start practicing this. But one of the things that I did notice as somebody that didn't typically use the Striker Titan very much is that this was a lot more forgiving. It was something that I was able to start replicating just a minute after I figured it out. It has a lot more leeway to get the speed boost, so it's something that people that haven't had a lot of chances to play with the Striker are going to be able to do early on. I also noticed that it gave me advantages that I didn't have before, especially with the Titan. Even though the skate is pretty good on its own, this is so much faster. Everybody knows how important orbs are in this game. Getting your super up quickly is super important. I don't have a shotgun, so I can't really challenge this guy close up, but with the Twilight Garrison, I could just sneak in and sneak out. It was just a fantastic tool, and I loved utilizing it in so many different ways. And something that's unique to the Twilight Garrison is that you're able to do this ability backwards to get that speed burst. With the flying knee, you can only do it forwards. But if you really want to step it up, it's the combination of putting the flying knee together with the Twilight Garrison that's really going to put you on a next level when it comes to controlling your jumps and keeping up speed when there are a lot of obstacles in your way. And this is something that's going to take some practice. You can see here, that was the end of my run, but that was pretty decent, and these are things that I'm trying to piece together. At first glance, I also took this chest piece to be mainly a PvP piece. I thought you would be using it to dodge players that are relatively smarter than the AI. However, I found that it actually gave me so many advantages. You're going to notice here that I got a call out being like, where are you? I was trying to take out some yellow knights and I kind of lost track of time. I was able to get back there with just a couple of seconds to spare. And this is something I probably wouldn't have been able to do on my Defender Titan because I don't have the flying knee. I found that it also gave me so much more control on all my jumps. It also gave me a lot of advantages in PvE by giving me abilities to space myself a lot better. But the extra control alone was actually worth it. I'm also somebody that likes to get somewhere fast, get these challenges done as fast as possible. If I'm in patrol, this is something I do all the time as well. If I need to get from point A to point B, I like to get there as fast as possible, whether it be by skating or using my Sparrow. I even had the opportunity to use it here as I was running, and I noticed that it made the running a lot easier. I can stay a little bit more leveled instead of taking very high archy jumps. And this is something you can typically do with the Titan anyways, but I did find that it gave me a little extra control in case I needed it. In case you kind of missed a jump, went a little bit wide, almost went over. These are things that the Twilight Garrison helps you compensate for by using your air dodge in whichever direction you need it. Let's jump back into some PvP. So after I got out of just fooling around with it, I started to be a little bit more aggressive while also being a little bit defensive with it. I found that if I was in a jam or I got a bad jump on somebody, I could use it to get out of there very quickly. I also found it to be extremely useful, just like the Shade Step, to dodge heavy weapons. Well, here I see my guy with some heavy ammo. I'm going to bait this guy, get out of the way, and then my buddy's going to go ahead and clean him up. And something that I find that makes a difference between the Shade Step and the Twilight Garrison's air dodge is that you do have more speed with the Twilight Garrison just because of the jump that the Titan has, which means that you can always queue up the skate after and continue to take the air dodge even further. So when it comes to these breach approaches, the Twilight Garrison is amazing. Now, this is something that I want to talk about a little bit, is about shotguns and the Twilight Garrison. It does make the backup approach very strong with the Twilight Garrison because shotguns actually did not change as much as people think. It only affected people that were staying on the ground. People that are still blinking at you are still going to have the same kind of speed on them. The strongest class with a shotgun is actually the Titan, so let's move on to that. So the shotgun nerf actually only affects people staying on the ground. It makes you a little bit slower. In regards to the equip time, well, if you already have your shotgun out because you foresee what you're going to be doing, you're not really going to notice a difference. The real difference is how fast you're running with it. So by just staying in the air, you're pretty much bypassing that. Otherwise, the conspiracy theory still has pretty damn good range. So it's still a shotgun that you're going to be seeing a lot of. Any shotgun with max range is still going to be just as deadly. Now, if you want to get the most out of your speed boost, it's all about setting up with the knee first and then throwing in the air dodges, because you cannot do it the other way around. You can't do the air dodges and then go into a knee. It effectively cancels the knee. So you always want to throw in the knee first and then go into the air dodges if you want to cover the most ground possible. Now, I want to bring this up as we're getting closer to the end of the video. In regards to Shade Step versus the air dodge, there is a fundamental difference, and I think it complements two different playstyles. I find that when it comes to sniping, the Shade Step is still better because you are planning on staying on the ground anyways. You're not going to be dodging from the air. And I found that just using this anytime was just saving my life. It's such a good ability. But I found that the Shade Step complements snipers because after you take a shot, you just instantly Shade Step. When you're shotgunning, you typically want to be in the air these days because of the new changes to shotguns. So I think that this is something that can definitely complement your style if you're already somebody that likes to shotgun. Plus, the Titan is just so fast, so there's really no reason not to be shotgunning if that's your jam with the Titan. Try the Twilight Garrison because I think there's going to be some things that you guys are really going to enjoy. And with some practice, you're going to be able to refine your abilities with this chess piece, and I think a lot of people are going to be innovating with it in the next coming weeks. Otherwise, if you have a scuff controller, you're in heaven because then you don't even have to let go of your control stick. So these are small things that make a difference, and I know with the new Xbox Elite controller coming out, it will definitely help your gameplay. Otherwise, that's it for me, guys. If you guys have any tips to add, leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'm Paper. Cut to you, and I'll see you guys next time.